Welcome to part 2. You got to find what you love, written by Steve Jobs. Students, we have been learning this lesson. In the previous part, we explored Steve Jobs' views as how his childhood became an important game changer, in fact, an important game changer. And when he joined college, what happened? And his mother's wish that he should be adopted by the graduates in which means educated family. Did she fulfill her dream? We saw she couldn't. I am going to continue in the text. Please pay attention. Page number 52, first page. And 17 years later, I did go to college, but I naively chose a college that was almost as expensive as Stanford, and all of my working class parents' savings were being spent on my college tuition. After 6 months, I couldn't see the value in it. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life and no idea how college was going to help me figure it out. And here I was spending all of the money my parents had saved their entire life. So I decided to drop out and trust that it would all work out okay. It was pretty scary at the time, but looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. The minute I dropped out, I could stop taking the required classes that didn't interest me and begin dropping in on the ones that looked interesting. Steve Jobs joined college, which means indirectly this man attended a school, and later when he came out of the school, he was sent to college. But he understood that it was not really an interesting task, and partly he was giving burden to parents, and the parents were not affluent, they were not rich. He wanted to give them relief. The reason why he became like this was he was able to understand the consequences of the family's decisions and the financial constraints. Today, students mostly do not understand the parents' agony. Parents are the providers, they give everything. What do they expect in return? Your progress, success, and settlement at last. But how many of us do really think about their wishes? We think about ourselves, which is really not okay. Well, Steve Jobs decided finally that he should get it off the college, and he assured himself that it was a decision which would be okay. And it is quite common that people will have some kind of apprehensions, apprehensions. They are the fears usually. If I get out of the college, how would my life be? What should I do? He did not have any plans. He simply, felt it was not a good thing. Let me get out of this. And this kind of decision is very rare to find, and we would definitely have to think twice before we make any such decisions. We cannot be unlike Steve Jobs. This is the rarest case. He did not find any interest in studying the subjects being taught at the college, and it was expensive. And he wanted to join something else instead of wasting time. This aspect should be remembered by the students very clearly. When you want to do something, or when you don't want to do something, you need to have plan B too, instead of being free. The empty mind is devil's workshop. Similarly, anyone who is not engaged in any good pursuit or task will absolutely waste time and career. So, if you really want to get away from the existing platform or else the job or even the college, you need to have plan B. Please think about that. It wasn't all romantic. I didn't have a dorm room, so I slept on the floor in friends' rooms. I returned Coke bottles for the 5 cent deposits to buy food with, and I would walk the 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple. I loved it, and much of what I stumbled into by following my curiosity and intuition turned out to be priceless later on. Let me give you one example. In this paragraph, he tells about the problems and the suffering he had when he chose to be a different student. He dropped out of Reed College, but he wanted to find another platform. He took the help of the friends. He slept on the floor. He had to sell the Coke bottles, empty bottles, to get some money. and he was walking 7 miles every Sunday night to get good meals at Hare Krishna temple. You understand, success doesn't come so easily. Just because one has some plans and ambitions, one cannot be rich as well as so great. One has to invest time as well as money. Sometimes what we think may not be accepted by family, in the sense parents, because children do not have much experience. In such context, parents play a major role. Whether they know everything or not, that is secondary, but parents should be given top priority. In this context, this man walked 7 miles to get good meals, and he also took the help of the friends, as well as um, he listened to his intuition in the sense inner self. So what it was telling, he listened to his heart, he wanted to follow it. What he says at last, it turned out to be priceless later on. Priceless in the sense, whatever you listen, whatever you understand from your intuition, or whatever you listen to, sometimes it may go wrong. That gets materialized in the form of decision making. The decisions usually are executed and they become the actions. Those actions might give good results or not, but in the life of Steve Jobs, it became so great and successful, priceless later on. And let me give you an example. He would like to give us an example. Reed College at the time offered perhaps the best calligraphy instruction in the country. Throughout the campus, every poster, every label on every drawer was beautifully hand calligraphed. Because I had dropped out and didn't have to take the normal classes, I decided to take a calligraphy class to learn how to do this. He chose calligraphy as his best interesting thing. So he joined, and this Reed College, which was offering calligraphy classes, was one of the best institutions at the time. And I learned about the serif and sans serif type faces, about varying the amount of space between different letter combinations, about what makes great typography great. It was beautiful, historical, artistically subtle in a way that science can't capture, and I found it fascinating. Fascinating refers to attracting, and subtle means very at micro level, as well as serif and sans serif for the two different font variations which he was introduced with. And this experience later on became a very big help and a handy tool in his life, that we would see in the next few paragraphs. It was beautiful, historical, artistically subtle in a way that science can capture. If you look at science, it can do some miracles, but it cannot be equated, or else it cannot be kept under along with other important artistic platforms. Here, calligraphy is the best thing, and it cannot be looked at and on a par with science. Even science can't do what calligraphy does. People who have zeal to pursue this course would definitely become greater human beings. That is what he would like to say. And I found it fascinating. Means that was the area in which I had a lot of interest. None of this had even a hope of any practical application in my life. When I joined this course, I did not have any idea. Today, when you want to choose an engineering program, should it be done at RGKT, or is RGKT Nujbudi campus okay, or RGKT is Srikakulam campus okay? Or should I have to go to Yeluru Ramchandra College, or should I have to join CRED College? Should I have to join Andhra University Engineering College? Or must I choose one of the best IITs in India? So people have different discussions, and finally they arrive at conclusions because they would like to see the result when they really start the journey. But this man didn't have any such thoughts. He simply got into the program which interested him. But 10 years later, when we were designing the first Macintosh computer, it all came back to me, and we designed it all into the Mac. It was the first computer with beautiful typography. If I had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. And since Windows just copied the Mac, it's likely that no personal computer would have them. If I had never dropped out, I would have never dropped in on this calligraphy class. And personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do. Of course, it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when I was in college, but it was very, very clear looking backward 10 years later. This paragraph has a lot of information, loaded information. It was difficult to find to connect the dots looking forward means you can't imagine the future. You can imagine, but you cannot make it a concrete picture. But based on the previous experiences, the experience at Reed College made him feel bit fatigue, and he came out of it. And that experience would tell him in the future he would not choose any other such college or such courses. He found interest in calligraphy. He pursued it. That skill, or else the domain knowledge which he has kept in his brain, has become materialized now after 10 years. What does this indicate? History repeats. History is the base. It's like pedestal, pedestal, which is helpful to construct the future castles. Castles in the sense of different programs, or else a different new experiences. We have skilling, upskilling, and reskilling. We need to skill. Many of us do think immediate results may not be possible. We may have to wait. With patience, we will absolutely create wonders in future. This is what connecting the dots story altogether reflects. With reference to the life of Steve Jobs, past helps, future we never know, but we should be hopeful and positive. Steve Jobs never has said that he would become the CEO of so and so company. He would start Apple Inc. or he would come up with Macintosh computers and all. He listened to his intuitions and then worked very sincerely. Here we need to understand one important aspect. Sincerity matters, friends. Apart from discipline, and focus on what we are doing. He keeps on saying in this lesson, I love what I do. That means I am so passionate about my choice that I have made in my life. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. So we have to believe in all these things. We have to work first. Later, we should leave it for the destiny's discretion. That's all. Similarly, karma, he has used, being a Christian, Steve has used karma. This word doesn't have any space in their religious belief, in fact, but this is a Hindu concept. Karma is found to be something that people have to abide by, as especially Hindu philosophy says, whatever you do, that is the only outcome of the karma that you have received. Accordingly, it is executed. He believes in that too. This may be true sometimes. We plan many things day in and day out, but sometimes nothing would be possible for us. Some people, without any planning, without any work, they become rich or they become successful, they stand first. Why? Maybe because of karma. Some others interpret this word karma as luck. Some people believe that it is God's mercy on them, whatever the reason it may be, but the life doesn't stop. It is a perennial river. Perennial means, continuous. It continuously goes. We have ups and downs, and pros and cons need to be understood. But we may be calculated, and at times we can be judgmental, but we cannot be so sure that this would happen in our lives. We cannot know the future. Second story. My second story is about love and loss. I was lucky I found what I loved to do early in life. Was and I started Apple in my parents' garage when I was 20. We worked hard, and in 10 years, Apple had grown from just the two of us in a garage into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. We had just released our finest creation, the Macintosh, a year earlier, and I had just turned 30 and then got fired. How can you get fired from a company you started? Well, as Apple grew, we hired someone who I thought was very talented to run the company with me. And for the first year or so, things went well. But then our visions of the future began to diverge, and eventually we had a falling out. When we did, our board of directors sided with him. So at 30, I was out, and very publicly out. What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone, and it was devastating. Steve explains in the second story about his growth and fall. He has risen to the level where the world has completely paid attention towards, and this man really became successful. Along with his friend, he also had invested his metal, METTLE, metal means knowledge or the wisdom that one accumulates over a period of time. And this man has become a scapegoat, let us say, because of his visions. And when a new manager has entered in the company, there was some dichotomy. Dichotomy means some fissure gap in degree of opinion, and they didn't have some, what you can say, proper agreement in their decision making. So when majority of the people have come on one side, and this man became single sided, That is the reason why this man was fired. He was very frank to say that he was fired from the company which he had started with somebody else. So this is called karma. This is what we should remember. We cannot always say that we can be alive forever and we will enjoy the same wealth and health. At times, things may go in a different way. This we should be prepared for. This man says, I was fired. And there is a word diverge. Please write down this word. Diverge means difference. Began to diverge and eventually means at last. So the difference came finally. It happened in his life that he had to be out. By 30, all the success and the privileges he had enjoyed, now they had gone, and then he is empty handed. I really didn't know what to do for a few months. I felt that I had let the previous generation of entrepreneurs down. And suddenly, if your job has been lost, and if you are fired or if layoff period has come, how would you feel? First thing is public opinion. When people do look at you, oh my god, once he had great wealth and lot of name, now he is empty handed and doesn't have anything else. It feels as though burdened. And sometimes social consciousness, basically how society looks at us and how we carry forward ourselves, and how can we best fit ourselves in the society, these factors rule our mindset, and we are governed by such principles also, because Aristotle said long ago, man is a social animal. Despite having so many riches, money, wealth, health, as well as bungalows, people need space in the society. This man felt a bit vacuum about this, and people who followed him and who believed him, because he was a brand, they felt they negligent at the time, and because of his being fired, they also did not have the space to go along with Apple's transactions and business affairs. That I had dropped the baton. BATN, baton refers to, it's actually a small stick which is used by the master in the music concerts to direct the singers or the choir. Here, the legacy. He was the leader in the company, and he had some responsibilities. Now he had to give those responsibilities to the people who come into his chair. I had dropped the baton as it was being passed to me. I met with David Packard and Bob Noyes and tried to apologize. Apologize means to say sorry for screwing up so badly. I was a very public failure, and I even thought about running away from the valley. How would people run away from their native place or from the organization or nearest places? Because when they feel very burdened, emotionally so sick, this man had such insult in his mind. He really could not understand and digest. Oh my God, this happened in my life. I don't know. I never expected. Usually, this is the time when people really commit suicides, when they go bankrupt, moneyless, and when they lose name in the society, they hang themselves or else they commit suicides. But this man was very strong. Great people are strong emotionally. This point is very important to remember. But something slowly began to dawn on me. Began to dawn on me means I gradually have understood about my role in this world. I have been sent into this world, onto this earth by God, in order to play some role. Everyone must think like this. With one failure or one setback, one should not lose hope, and one should never give up what they have been doing or what kind of abilities they have. They need to dig again and again and must see the possibilities of becoming successful. I still loved what I did. Please underline this sentence. You should love what you do. When you love the profession or else the job that you're doing, there is the sky is the limit. No one can stop you. One day, absolutely and definitely, you will become the champion. Because I would like to give you one a proverb in this context. In a society where we live in, people are very busy. They try to perform different tasks at a time, multiple tasks, in order to earn money. In this process, what happens? A, B, C, D, five different tasks are there. When the man is only good at A, he tries to keep his fingers at B, C, D also, which may be okay in the very beginning, but gradually he becomes weak, may not be able to spend time with A or else B or C, when he has to pay more attention towards D and E. In this critical juncture, what happens usually? He has to lose quality in his performance. When you lose quality and don't discharge your duties effectively, you will not be recognized. So when people are patient and stable, they don't want to keep their fingers into the multiple tasks. They will just pay attention to what they do. We look at some business tycoons and employees. In the long run, they get recognized. That recognition is very solid and outstanding. They don't want immediate results. This can be taken as an allusion. Allusion means reference. Something that is slowly constructed or slowly or gradually built up would be very strong than something that is constructed or built up overnight. Imagine this. You can understand from this point of view. I still loved what I did. Please, Steve Jobs says, love what you do. Finish all your tasks, be good students, and develop skills and gain so much of knowledge as long as you are a student. Once this phase is over, you will not have a chance to learn friends. This is very important. Even after college life, you must love the job. People love money, they don't love jobs. This is the problem. You might ask me a question, NMR, is money not important? Why, what is the importance of job? Friends, job is like fuel. That is the fuel which energizes and which gives life for your vehicle called life to move on to to any extent. If the job is not there, how would you get money? Even if you get money, if there is no recognition or satisfaction in your job, or no patting from your boss, or no medals, awards and rewards in the career that you have chosen, what is the fun of having a life full of hustle bustle activities, only making money? That is not actually a very true inspirational employment. In fact, one must have good recognition in the organizations where they study or where they work. Similarly, students also must be recognized by the institutions. You need to get recognized. That can be possible if you maintain consistency and have patience. I still loved what I did. The turn of events at Apple had not changed that one bit. I had been rejected, but I was still in love, and so I decided to start over. This man he's an ambitious individual. In fact, you look at after college, when he came out from Reed College, he immediately chose to become busy with calligraphy classes. Similarly, here also, after Apple's experience, he didn't want to waste time, money, and he didn't want to cry. He only continuously he was thinking about what he could do. That is why I decided to start over. He says, means he immediately took a decision to again start the second innings in his life. I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that I could have ever happened to me. Even he looks at the positive things in the negative experiences. I was fired, but that fire, I mean, sacking out of job has also become a blessing in my life. He says, the heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again. When you are so successful, those days are called heydays, H-A-Y, hey, D-A-Y-S days, successful days. Suddenly, if there is any failure, it is very difficult to take it. And we can't take it so easily. But this man felt both. He saw the highest rate success and he had seen the taste of dust in the failures. But again, he has regained his strength and started working on his abilities. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life. After Apple's experience, when he became free, he focused on being creative and he just wanted to bring out so many products. During the next 5 years, I started a company named Next, N-E-X-T, another company named Pixar, and fell in love with an amazing woman who would become my wife. Pixar went on to create the world's first computer animated feature film, Toy Story, and is now the most successful animation studio in the world. In a remarkable turn of events, Apple bought Next. I returned to Apple, and the technology we developed at Next is at the heart of Apple's current renaissance. And Lauren and I have a wonderful family together. In this paragraph, he explains how he became again successful for the second time. He started Next and Pixar. Animated film Toy Story was brought out, and he fell in love. And the marriage was so successful, became very happy thing in his life. And what does it tell us? if winter comes, can spring be far behind? I would like to tell you again, please write it down in your books. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? You may have winter season now, but spring season would also be in the pipeline. It would also come. Be patient. So, and use your talents and creative things. Those who are not able to speak English, those who are not able to do well in the math as well as physics, chemistry, please be mindful. Your day will come. There is a saying, so casually people do refer to us. Every dog has its own day. So let's wait for our turn. But until then, we should not cry. We should not waste time as well as parents' money. We have to be resolute. Resolute. Resolute means we should be strong enough emotionally, and we should have connections, networks in the society, and we must observe and absorb and execute. Observe, observe, absorb, and execute. We need to perform these tasks frequently, then everything will be fine. I'm pretty sure none of this would have happened if I hadn't been fired from Apple. He again reiterates, means stresses, emphasizes. If I had not come out from Apple, I would not have been able to utilize my skills and abilities, and I would not have started Next and Pixar. So that was a big thing and a very good thing. It has turned out to be a positive thing in my life. Sometimes it was awful tasting medicine, but I guess the patient needed it. Sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. I am convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. This is the second time he uses in this lesson. I loved what I did. You have got to find what you love. So you have some interests. Please identify those interests and give importance to them. Start working on them. Listen to your heart, and that is as true of your work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work, and the only way to do great work is to love what you do. So finally, two important things: to establish great work and to get recognition and show success, great success, you must love the work. Then everything will be possible. No shortcuts in this regard. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking, don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you will know when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking until you find it. Don't settle. And don't settle and don't take a lesser view of your life. Be confident and then pay attention to what you can do and give importance to your heart. My third story is about death. So, Steve Jobs' third story is about death. So far, we have seen two different stories. Love and loss was the second story, and the first story was connecting the dots. Now, the third story is death. That is Steve Jobs' death. When I was 17, I read a quote that went something like, "If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you will most certainly be right." It made an impression on me, and since then, for the past 33 years, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no, for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something else. So Steve Jobs recounts his experience with different disease which caught on him, and he says, "Please have detachment in life. Don't be so attached and sentimental. You will not live for hundreds of years. One day the life comes to an end, and curtains are closed, and curtains are dropped down, and that is the last moment when you breathe in. We have to think always and then give importance to that point parallelly. It works as a catalyst in life. Then we can never be so selfish and jealous of others, and we will not waste time. As long as we live, we will use time qualitatively, and that qualitative time helps us develop good systems as well as achieve great success. Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in my life. If the death comes today, what should I do? If death comes after 10 years, what should I do? So if the time is mentioned, you would become partly very sad and depressed. But if you are a if you are achiever mindset, and you would start working on that very important, you will eliminate all unimportant things, and you will become crystal clear, and you will narrow down what you have to do. This is what he says. Every day, if you work like that, you will definitely achieve the success which you don't expect in your life. I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life, because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, pride, embarrassment, external expectations, as well as embarrassment, failure, embarrassment, pride, expectations. These are the four very difficult and dangerous things. External expectations, man lives for the sake of others, be it wearing dress or be it looking outward or money. This is called ostentatious behavior. In other words, it's called hypocrisy. Hypocrisy, people are hypocritical. They just would like to live for others, forgetting about their background. This is one thing. At times they lie for that. And number two, pride. Pride is necessary. We need to be proud of ourselves, being the son or daughter of our parents and being an Indian, but that shouldn't cross limits. Embarrassment comes sometimes accidentally, and we will become fumbled, and then we will become very speechless in some situations. But we should not always give importance to that. Failure is common. We need to pass through some phases of failures. Life is not again bed of roses. We may have to definitely accept. This is called preparing the mind. We need to program our mind that embarrassments would come and failures would come. Pride is there, but we should not bear it too long. As well as expectations of others on us are common, but we should overcome that kind of complex. These things just fall away in the face of death. When you think death is going to be there, so immediately you will not have to think about all these things. You will think about what you have to achieve, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way, I know, to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. So when you think that it is going to be certain, you will become very conscious about your duties. About a year ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. I had a scan at 7:30 in the morning, and it clearly showed a tumor on my pancreas. I didn't even know what a pancreas was. The doctors told me this was almost certainly a type of cancer that is incurable, and that I should expect to live no longer than 3 to 6 months. My doctor advised me to go home and get my affairs in order, which is doctor's code for prepare to die. It means to try to tell your kids everything you thought you'd have the next 10 years to tell them in just a few months. It means to make sure everything is buttoned up so that it will be as easy as possible for your family. It means to say your goodbyes. In this paragraph, Steve explains how hard it could have been in his life when he was diagnosed and told by the doctors that he had some problem with cancer, as well as the cancer was spotted at pancreas. Doctor told him, okay, please go and then have fun and then tell your kids and spend time with your family. You may not have years to live, very few months. This he tells very frankly. So most of the people do not want to share their personal things when it comes to wealth and health, but this man has spoken so outwardly. That is the greatness. Great people always speak truth. I lived with that diagnosis all day. Later that evening, I had a biopsy. Biopsy means taking small piece of flesh and is sent to the laboratory where it is examined, particularly the tumor cells, whether it has any sort of cancer-related tumors or any other, complained disorder in the body, particularly abnormality. Later that evening, I had a biopsy where they stuck an endoscope down my throat, through my stomach, and into my intestines, put a needle into my pancreas, and got a few cells from the tumor. I was sedated. Sedated means some, what do you call, sedation. It's a sort of injection which makes you feel dizzy, and you will forget about the pain of the body, isn't it? It's like trance. Sedated, but my wife, who was there, told me that when they viewed the cells under a microscope, the doctors started crying because it turned out to be a very rare form of pancreatic cancer that is curable with surgery. I had the surgery and I am fine now. By the time he was addressing this gathering at Stanford University, this experience that he had undergone, he told, okay, I had undergone this experience, now I am fine. Operation was performed, and that was curable, doctor said. Finally it happened, but still the leftovers of the cancer, even though it is cured, or else nothing could be, I think, 100% cured, maybe some leftovers could still be there, or through the process of the diagnosis, the patient would definitely undergo some loss. It's a very big loss to other parts in the body. So as a result, there will be some impact. We cannot be so healthy as we used to be in the past. This was the closest I have been to facing death, and I hope it's the closest I get for a few more decades. Having lived through it, I can now say this to you with a bit more certainty than when death was useful but purely intellectual concept. Yeah, it is certain. I was told that I would be alive for decades. Let us look at the year in which he made this speech. He made this speech in the year 2005, and he died in the year according to the information provided in About Others biography. It was 2011. So 2011 minus 2005. After diagnosis, how many years had he lived? He lived approximately 6 years, didn't he? Now, no one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die don't want to get there. And yet, death is the destination we all share. Death is the destination. We don't want death, even though we want Swargam, we don't want Narakam, but still we want Paralokam, we don't want other Lokam. But still, we don't want to die. If death comes, no one can stop it. It is inevitable. And yet, death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it, and that is as it should be. Because death is very likely the single best invention of life. It is life's change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. Right now, the new is you. But someday, not too long from now, you will gradually become the old and be cleared away. Sorry to be so dramatic, but it is quite true. So he concludes saying that cannot be escaped from, and all of us should be prepared. Be successful, friends. He was telling all the students. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. He says very important and dynamic points and thought provoking, so motivational adages. Listen to your heart. Don't follow others' words always, and don't listen to others. You may get diluted in the process of listening to others, and wasting time is a sin. Time is gold. He reminds all the students of how important it is to give value for time, and listening to others and following others' patterns of lifestyle would also spoil our quality life. When I was young, there was an amazing publication called the Whole Earth Catalog, which was one of the Bibles of my generation. It was created by a fellow named Stewart Brand, not far from here in Menlo Park, and he brought it to life with his poetic touch. This was in the late 1960s, before personal computers and desktop publishing. It was it was all made with typewriters, scissors, and Polaroid cameras. It was sort of like Google in paperback form. 35 years before Google came along, it was idealistic and overflowing with neat tools and great notions. The name of this book was The Whole Earth Catalog. Before we had internet in 1960s, books were in vogue. They were very popular. Anything was available in the libraries in the form of big encyclopedias. So this book he found, and an interesting quote he is going to give us from this. It was actually created by Stewart Brand, and the book the book's title was The Whole Earth Catalog. It can be compared with Google. Google means whatever you want today, you can access. Once you type or else give voice direction, it would show you. Today, AI is also very prevalent and it has spread everywhere. In fraction of seconds, everything could be possible. In the best internet facility, 5G is also available in the current, in the current platforms. So, Stewart and his team put out several issues of the Whole Earth Catalog, and then which, when it had run its course, they put out a final issue. It was the mid 1970s, and I was your age. On the back cover of their final issue was a photograph of an early morning country road, the kind you might find yourself hitchhiking on if you were so adventurous. Beneath means under, beneath it were the words, stay hungry, stay foolish. It was their farewell message as they signed off. They stay hungry, stay foolish. And I have always wished that for myself. And now as you graduate to begin anew. I wish that for you. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Thank you all very much. He quotes one thing from that book: stay hungry, stay foolish. I would explain this point: stay hungry, stay foolish, in a separate video. He really, why did he say a great man who has achieved many things, who had seen ups and downs in life? Stay hungry is a negative proposition, and stay foolish is also a great successful technically advanced tech savvy cannot say like this is what usually people on surface level, when they read first time for the first time, they would say, but there is a lot of meaning. That meaning you have to explore. I'd make another video in which I'd explain what exactly this line or else a sentence stands for. Okay. Keep watching my videos, and please share these videos to your friends, those who have been studying intermediate, if you feel these videos would help them. And keep these videos links on your WhatsApp status, and share in the Insta as well as other platforms, social media platforms. As a result, we would reach to the hundreds of and thousands of students in the state of Andhra Pradesh as well as India, because sharing is caring. Thank you very much, friends, for having given your time. And don't forget to develop your running notes as well as critical thinking. And I would discuss theme shopping for students, because these bullets, 5 bullets are there. All of them have a lot of importance, and you have to learn glossary from this, and please learn much about Steve Jobs from Google, and be prepared so well for life. Don't waste time. Stay hungry, stay foolish. um, Thank you so much for your interest in learning English. Have a great day.